The secret history of pendulums, from ancient divination to modern mystery. Imagine walking into a temple thousands of years ago. The air is thick with the scent of incense. Oil lamps cast flickering shadows across stone walls covered in symbols whose meanings have long been forgotten. Priests and seekers move quietly through the darkness, their robes whispering against the stone floor as they pass between towering columns illuminated by golden light. Outside, the night stretches endlessly beneath a sky crowded with stars. Inside, questions are being asked. Questions about fate, about the future, about the gods, about life, death, and the mysteries that lie beyond both. A ruler seeks guidance before leading his people into war. A merchant wonders whether a dangerous journey will end in success or disaster. A grieving mother asks if the spirits of her ancestors still watch over her family. A young initiate stands before the altar, hoping to glimpse a future that remains hidden from mortal eyes. Thousands of years separate us from these people. Their languages have changed. Their kingdoms have vanished. Many of their beliefs have been forgotten. And yet, their deepest questions remain remarkably familiar. Because the desire to know what lies beyond the visible world is as old as humanity itself. For as long as people have walked beneath the stars, they have searched for signs. They have studied dreams, observed the movements of birds, read messages in smoke, fire, clouds, and water. Again and again, across different civilizations and different ages, humanity returned to the same idea, that hidden knowledge exists, and that perhaps, with the right tools, it can be revealed. Among the countless methods used throughout history to seek guidance, one stands out for its remarkable simplicity: a pendulum. A small weight suspended from a chain, nothing more. No elaborate machinery. No secret mechanism, no advanced technology. And yet for centuries, people have believed that this simple object could reveal hidden truths. They have used it to search for underground water and buried treasures, to locate missing objects, to answer questions, to explore intuition, to communicate with spirits, and to seek knowledge that seemed just beyond the reach of ordinary awareness. Some consider the pendulum a spiritual instrument. Others view it as a psychological phenomenon. Some believe it connects us to unseen forces. Others argue that it reflects the hidden workings of the human mind. Even today, there is no universal agreement about what moves a pendulum. But perhaps that uncertainty is exactly why it continues to fascinate us. Because the pendulum exists at a crossroads between science and mystery, between belief and skepticism, between what we know and what we suspect may lie beyond knowing. Tonight, we will follow the story of this mysterious object across thousands of years of human history, from ancient temples and forgotten civilizations, to medieval dowsers searching for hidden water beneath the earth, from Renaissance occultists seeking the secrets of the universe, to modern practitioners who continue to use pendulums today. This is not only the history of a tool, it is the history of humanity's endless search for answers. And perhaps, by the end of this journey, you will have your own answer to the question that has followed the pendulum through the centuries: what truly moves it? To understand the history of pendulums, we must first understand something even older: humanity's search for hidden knowledge. Long before written history, our ancestors lived in a world that seemed filled with mystery. The sun disappeared each evening and returned each morning. Storms appeared without warning. Dreams transported people into strange realms where the dead seemed alive and impossible things became real. To ancient people, these experiences were not merely curiosities, they were clues, evidence that reality was deeper and more complex than it appeared. Across the ancient world, systems of divination emerged. The Mesopotamians studied the stars and developed some of the earliest forms of astrology. The Egyptians recorded dreams and sought messages from their gods through ritual. The Greeks consulted oracles. The Romans watched the flight patterns of birds. In ancient China, diviners sought wisdom through symbols, patterns, and the observation of natural forces. The methods differed, the symbols differed, the gods differed. Yet the goal remained remarkably similar. People wanted guidance. They wanted certainty in an uncertain world. They wanted to know what lay beyond the reach of ordinary perception. Although historians cannot point to a specific moment when pendulum divination began, many researchers believe that its roots may lie within these ancient traditions. The exact origin remains hidden. Like many ancient mysteries, the trail disappears into the shadows of history. Some traditions connect pendulums with ancient Egypt. Others point toward early forms of dowsing and divination practiced across Europe and Asia. What matters is not necessarily where the pendulum began. What matters is that it emerged from a human desire that has never disappeared. The desire to know. The desire to understand. The desire to seek answers from forces greater than ourselves. As centuries passed, this desire took on a surprisingly practical form: the search for things hidden beneath the earth. During the Middle Ages, stories spread across Europe about individuals who possessed a curious talent. They could locate underground water, mineral deposits, hidden resources. Their tool was often a forked branch cut from a tree. Today, we know this practice as dowsing. According to many accounts, the branch would twist or dip when passing over hidden water sources. Entire villages sometimes relied upon dowsers to locate places where wells could be dug. Mining communities occasionally consulted them when searching for valuable ore. To believers, these discoveries seemed impossible to explain through ordinary means. To skeptics, the answer was much simpler: coincidence, observation, luck. The debate began centuries ago, and it continues to this day. Over time, some practitioners replaced wooden rods with suspended weights. These new tools appeared more delicate and more responsive. Unlike dowsing rods, which searched for physical objects, pendulums seemed capable of something different. They appeared to answer questions. A person would hold the chain, ask a question, observe the movement, and interpret the response. The pendulum had begun its transformation from a practical tool into an instrument of divination. Then came the Renaissance, a period of extraordinary intellectual curiosity. This was an age of exploration, discovery, philosophy, alchemy, astrology, and occult study. Today, many people think of science and spirituality as separate paths, but during the Renaissance, they often existed side by side. Many scholars believe the universe was an interconnected whole. Everything influenced everything else: the stars, the planets, plants, animals, human beings, visible and invisible forces alike. According to this worldview, hidden connections linked all things together. The universe was not a machine. It was a living system filled with meaning and correspondence. Within such a worldview, the pendulum seemed perfectly reasonable. If unseen forces existed, why could they not influence physical objects? If hidden knowledge flowed through nature, why could it not reveal itself through movement? The pendulum became increasingly associated with occult exploration. People experimented with it, developed methods for using it, recorded observations, created personal systems of interpretation. For some, it became a way of communicating with spiritual forces. For others, it was a method of exploring intuition. For many, it was simply another tool in humanity's ongoing search for understanding. By the 19th century, a new movement was captivating Europe and North America: spiritualism. People gathered in candlelit parlors seeking evidence that consciousness survived death. Mediums claimed to communicate with spirits. Seances became popular. Tables moved. Messages appeared. Voices were heard. The pendulum found a natural home within this movement. Many practitioners believed it could serve as a bridge between worlds. Questions were asked. Answers appeared through movement. Books describing pendulum techniques became increasingly common. People experimented with using pendulums to communicate with spirits, locate lost objects, and gain insight into personal questions. For believers, the pendulum offered a glimpse into realities hidden beyond ordinary perception. For skeptics, it offered something else, an opportunity to investigate how the human mind works. And this is where the story takes an interesting turn. As interest in pendulums grew, scientists began examining them more closely. What they discovered was surprising. Many pendulum movements could be explained by something known as the ideomotor effect. This phenomenon occurs when a person makes tiny muscular movements without consciously realizing it. The movements are real, but the person often remains completely unaware of making them. These subtle movements can influence objects such as pendulums, dowsing rods, and spirit boards. For many scientists, this explanation solved the mystery. The pendulum moves because the person holding it moves, even if those movements occur unconsciously. Case closed. Or perhaps not, because the ideomotor effect raises another question. If the unconscious mind influences the pendulum, what information might the unconscious mind possess? Human beings constantly process information below conscious awareness. We notice patterns, read body language, detect subtle changes in our environment, recognize details without consciously realizing it. Could the pendulum be reflecting information hidden beneath conscious thought? Could intuition itself play a role? This question remains unanswered, and perhaps that is why the debate continues. Today, pendulums are used throughout the world. Some people approach them as spiritual tools. Others use them for meditation and self-reflection. Some view them as instruments of intuition. Others see them as psychological mirrors. Crystal pendulums have become especially popular. Amethyst, clear quartz, rose quartz, obsidian, labradorite. Countless varieties exist. Many practitioners associate different crystals with different symbolic qualities. Whether these associations reflect metaphysical properties or personal belief depends largely on the individual. Yet regardless of one's perspective, the appeal of the pendulum remains remarkably strong. Even in an age of smartphones, artificial intelligence, satellites, and advanced technology, people continue to be drawn to this ancient tool. Why? Perhaps because the pendulum represents something deeper than a method of divination. Perhaps it represents a question humanity has asked for thousands of years. Can hidden knowledge be accessed? Can intuition reveal truths that logic overlooks? Do unseen forces shape our lives? Are there aspects of reality we have yet to understand? Or are the greatest mysteries hidden within our own minds? The pendulum does not provide a definitive answer. It never has. Instead, it offers something else. An invitation to wonder, to explore, to question, to remain curious. And perhaps curiosity itself is the true heart of the pendulum story. Empires have risen and fallen. Civilizations have flourished and disappeared. Religions have spread across continents. Scientific revolutions have transformed the world. Yet the pendulum remains, still swinging, still inspiring questions, still inviting each new generation to decide for themselves what moves it. Whether you see it as a spiritual instrument, a psychological phenomenon, a tool of intuition, or simply a fascinating piece of history, one thing is certain. The pendulum stands at a crossroads, between science and mystery, between the conscious and the unconscious, between certainty and wonder. And perhaps that is why it continues to captivate us. Because deep down, every human being is searching for answers. And sometimes, even the simplest objects can inspire the greatest questions. So the next time you see a pendulum gently swinging through the air, remember that you are looking at more than a weighted object on a chain. You are looking at the latest chapter in a story that has been unfolding for thousands of years. A story of mystery. A story of curiosity. A story of humanity's endless search for what lies beyond the visible world. And perhaps the greatest mystery is not the pendulum itself, but what it reveals about us.